of 2026 for this Urban Affairs Committee, so welcome you. We're going to get started now that we have a quorum, and we are going to ask Senator Wicks to give us our opening prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Source of wisdom and peace, we pause in gratitude for the opportunity to serve. May this meeting be guided by respect, thoughtful dialogue, and the commitment to the common good. Help us to collaborate with open minds and carry hearts. Always be mindful of those who depend on our leadership. Amen.
Amen. We need to, do we want to do roll call, or can you just take that?
I've got the roll running.
The roll is already running, so we don't have to do roll call. And do you have all of our staff
Yes, ma'am.
names on there as well? So we'll forego that. I'm Senator Donzella James, and today I'm proud to say we have a very good bill that we are about to hear. So Senator Merritt is going to present to us Senate Bill 166. Would you like to sit out here? Okay, and that is, which one? While she's sitting down, let me tell everyone who came for our Urban Affairs update on the hearings we've had. We are going to do that right after this bill. So please stay for us. I know it's getting late, but time is of the essence. So, Senator, would you like to start and present?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for hearing my bill today, and thank you, members, for coming and giving my bill consideration. So the premise of this bill is very simple. You all know we have corporate landlords, and a lot of times they're getting violations at the local level, and the violations can be, the fine for that can be very low. I think $100 here, $200 there. So what this 166 does, it gives counties and municipalities the tool to address repeated code violations. And those violations could be public health or any code violations, especially in our unincorporated area. This bill is not intended to punish homeowners or your little small and pops, those that are just people that have rental properties. That's not who we're targeting here, but this is about chronic violators and holding them accountable. We did have language in the bill that you have to have a particular amount of properties for this to apply to you. But the bill authorizes graduated monetary penalties only for repeat violations, and that includes zoning and land use, environmental property maintenance issues, littered, abandoned vehicles, overgrown vegetation, anything tied to public health and safety. The enhanced penalties are limited and they are structured. The second violation is $3,000. I think we're just starting at the second violation. $3,000. The third is $5,000. The fourth is $10,000, and the fifth and subsequent could go up from there. If I'm not mistaken, the first violation is whatever is the standard for each county, each locality. There are guardrails. Homestead properties are fully exempt. Small property owners with fewer than 10 single-family or duplex properties in the same county are exempt. Permit-related issues and improperly adopted local building codes are excluded, and local governments must, they have to opt in to the ordinance, so it is not mandated. Localities would decide that for themselves if they want to opt in. So this 166 is pretty simple. It's, to protect our neighborhood, to protect our renters, to improve compliance, to stop repeated offenders, especially as we have a proliferation of corporate landlords coming in and scooping up properties and renting them. And we want to make sure that we know they're able to pay more fines, so we should ask them to pay more fines if they have multiple properties and the violations continue. One thing I will address, and we did not put this in the bill, but it has been brought to my attention, and I do agree, we may need to add an amendment to the bill to close the loop on corporate land. First of all, we don't have a registry for them. They could be anywhere and everywhere. I do think a registry is needed, and there should be something mandated for corporate landlords to apply to that registry, number one. And then number two, some preventative language. Let's say they get a violation, but they might go open up another LLC. So we may need to apply some language to the bill so that they can't go back and just open up another LLC, and that maybe the registry could capture that. I don't have it in this bill, but that is something we could amend if we don't have it here. If it makes it pass here, we can amend. We can introduce that amendment on the floor. And with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Do we have any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Senator Murray, for bringing this bill to the study committee. To the committee. This is an awesome bill, but I have a question for you. Where does the funds go if you were to retrieve funds? Do it go to the beautification, or where would sidewalk improvement? Where would those funds go?
Well, they would go back, I guess, to wherever the violation is being applied, so your county. And if it's at the municipal level, it would go back to the cities. It's up to them how they apply that money at that time. I would think that would be good revenue for them, but we would leave that up to the local governments to decide.
Any other questions? Anybody? Before we do that, let me ask Legislative Council. Hi. You heard the possible amendment that she wanted to put on it. Is it possible to do that from this meeting now if somebody makes a motion?
Sure, that's good. Maybe we can work together on that.
The
Yeah,
word-
I guess you just want me to tell it to you because I know you guys can make it sound like I want it to sound.
Yeah, we can do it either way you want to do it. If you want to do it at the meeting, we can want some language right now.
Yeah, I can tell you because so I want to do two things. Require registry for the same landlords that would fall within I guess the parameters of what we're saying. If you have over, what did I say? Over how many? Over 10 properties. They would have to be in the registry for that. The second thing is something to address them opening up another LLC.
Over 10 properties, is there any limitations on the size of the properties?
No limitation on the side of property, just if they own the 10 properties. And then the other would be preventing them from opening, the same company opening up in another LLC or renting under another LLC. So I'm assuming the registry would capture that problem. If they're registering, we're saying that there needs to be something to close that loophole.
Sure. Okay, and Chairwoman, maybe could I have the committee's authority to conform the language for a committee sub afterwards, consistent with what President Sanders just said?
I'm trying to cut on the speaker so everyone say it again, please.
I was just saying, yeah, this is definitely
Which one?
language we work with. If you'd like to do it, if I could have the committee's permission to draft language which conforms with what Senator Murray just said, and put that in the committee sub.
You can do it now, or it'll take a minute. It'll take a while.
I could try to do it now too. I said 2 weeks we could either do it, either we could try to come up with the exact language now, but maybe be able to tweak later, like you made it one thing and change it later, you know what I mean? Or, if somebody from the committee says, gives the authority, then I can just go ahead and write it.
Right. So the committee would have to agree to the sub. Y'all would have to take a motion to agree to a sub.
Or we could give you another chance to come back with the one completed bill, right?
Right.
This,
We do another
and we'll
hearing.
try to do it, but it'll be next week.
Okay.
course.
Is that fine with you? Because I think
It's
you were trying to do it
Which
once.
one do you, yeah, I was trying to give
Do
you
wrap
an
up.
opportunity to go ahead and go through and pass it.
Okay.
And I think next week would still be enough time. Do you-
Would we entertain a motion from the committee to table until?
We will, we
Okay.
will. If, anybody else, you want it?
One other question.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Very great bill. It's very much needed. Tell me about the registry part. How are we going to hold these folks accountable if they're not registered within the municipalities, you know, with their...
If they haven't registered?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you just brought up another good point, and maybe something we need to add
Yeah,
about
yeah.
accountability.
Yeah.
So that maybe is something else we can address as we're doing an amendment. What authority would we hold them accountable? Who would that go to?
And that's something maybe possible to circle back with you on.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Senator Sims. It's a great question. That's great. I'm trying to close all the loops, all the loopholes. So that was a good one.
Put it in all 5 days. Procedurally, we don't need to take a motion to table. We can just say this is going to be here only, and we'll revisit this next week.
Okay. We won't table this bill. We will just
Just come
announce
back.
right now that we will hear you on next week. This was a hearing only. then.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we'll give you a chance to come back with
For substitute.
substitute. And do we have anyone that wants to speak for or against this bill? It's in the audience. No members want to add anything else to it? Well, I thank you very much, Senator Merritt. Thank you, Senator Merritt and committee. We will now end the hearing and take our last item up. And it will be, a lot of people are here now for the wrap-up. Let's see, where are we? Of our HOA legislation and rent control legislation. As most of you know, we've had more than six
6 over the past 3 years.
more than 6 hearings over the past 2 years for HOA, predatory HOAs, as well as for rent control, because the students at the colleges were having problems with the fact that they double, triple, or quadruple the rent. It's a bill now that the Speaker of the House was introducing yesterday that had that in it. So we have to make sure we look at that now, because his bill will probably pass, and we want to look at what it would do to our rent control. Right now in the state of Georgia, we don't have rent control, and it was passed many years ago. I think over 20 years ago, to make sure that rent control does not happen in the state of Georgia. And do you know what year that was? Okay. We've talked about it over and over again, so we know that in order to have any kind of control over whether a mayor or a county commissioner can vote on what goes on in their area as far as rent control is concerned, we have to abolish the law now that says that there are absolutely no rent control for the state of Georgia. But I think that we need to give local control to the state of Georgia and allow them, because many of those universities who don't have enough for the students to live, the students have to live somewhere close. And now, when we had the big HBCU meeting from the Black Caucus, and then we invited all the other universities and colleges. That was the number one priority. So that's what we're trying to do now. So we'll look at what your what's his name, Burns, what he said yesterday, and see if that has anything to do with the bills that we already have introduced. Also, I want to ask Senator Sims if you would kind of you've been here and you know about our HOA problem.
For the last 5 or 6 years, been directly involved. But before I speak, I would like to know if we have anybody in the audience with any feedback that they could quickly give us some feedback about HOA issues.
Come on up. I know you can, so can you
Briefly.
briefly come up?
Briefly.
I know that you've probably been to all of those, maybe even more than 5 or 6 meetings.
I think maybe 15.
We've had a lot.
So my name is Michael Shepard. I started the Watch Project, which is a nonprofit that's dedicated to promoting legislative change that protects homeowners. It promotes change that will hopefully benefit everyone, not focusing on a specific community, because as you know, there's different HOA types. So really quickly, I just wanted to point out that the needle has been moving. There's a lot of bills, too many to count. That's been a good way. I never thought I would say that. But I haven't seen, of all the bills I've seen, I wanted to focus on what I see as shortcomings. There's bills to create a commission, ombudsman, to monitor elections, but what I did not see, and forgive me if you have a bill and I missed this, but I did not see anything related to HOA election fraud. That's super concerning. Certain states take that very seriously. Pennsylvania, they treat HOA election fraud the exact same way as if you're conspiring to steal an election or rig an election at the local level. So rigging an HOA election is the same thing in Pennsylvania as rigging a mayoral election, a city council election. So one of my points I wanted to bring up, I'm wondering if someone could look at not reinventing the wheel, but basically tying HOA election fraud to the laws that we already have on the books in Georgia as it relates to conspiracy to commit election fraud or actually committing it. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing that people have talked about but no one has addressed is what I call payment allocation fraud. There are laws already on the books to a certain degree and new laws that are being introduced in the Senate and the House that talk about your association can no longer take away your right to vote if you only have fines but you're paying your dues. There's more bills that I've seen in the works. The issue with that is many associations right now are taking people's assessment and reallocating it to the fines arbitrarily. And so I think that needs to be addressed. It's saying if you are sending out an invoice, you have to send it out to where you make it clear, this is your assessment, this is your special assessment, and these are your fines. Because people who are paying their assessments who shouldn't lose their right to vote are still losing their right to vote because their dues are being taken and misapplied.
We did discuss both of those issues.
Yeah.
And we discussed them also in the study committee that was chaired by Senator Brass. And his committee heard a lot of more important things. We couldn't address everything at one time because we were not trying to reform. We just wanted to put some, HOAs had no oversight
Yeah, correct.
at all. So they were trying to make sure that we stop people from having their houses foreclosed upon. And so those were the first 3 issues that we wanted to address.
For sure.
Because we knew that this would be a short session,
Yeah.
and we were trying to make sure we got important things passed.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the main thing.
No, understood.
But
And I'll take
what's
what we're
your-
getting. These are really huge steps and huge improvements. And if I make just two other short concerns, one in the area of foreclosure. I've seen several people introduce legislation to protect homeowners and say, hey, we're going to tell HOAs, POAs, you can't foreclose. I do have one major concern with that. A lot of the people who support the Watch Project, when they hear me say this, their eyes kind of bulge and they go, wait, that's kind of a different view. I'm super concerned that if I understand the bill as written and HOAs do lose their ability to foreclose, I have an extreme concern specifically related to condos that if a condo cannot recoup people paying their assessments, because with a condo, the assessments are tied to your water bill and your trash, not like a
Right.
single family or
Right.
even a townhome.
I know.
I can speak to one of the HOAs I'm involved in where we are $6,000 behind on our water bill because people aren't paying their dues. And my concern is that if a condo cannot take care of that situation through foreclosure, I'm afraid that many people in urban condos especially, who are paying their dues, who are paying their bills, will still lose their home ultimately through either local or state level condemnation of that condo because they cannot pay the water bill. The water gets shut off, not by the condo, but specifically by the municipality or whoever the water provider is, and they can't pay for their trash. And now everybody, we're trying to protect a few people as it relates to condo, but now everyone is completely condemned.
But let me
So that's one concern.
clarify this,
Yeah,
and
okay.
then we're going to let Senator Sims.
Okay.
Okay.
Number one,
Okay.
if the HOA Association has completely locked out the homeowners, whether it's in a condo unit or in a housing unit or whatever, I'm a part of that. I'm living through that right now. And have been foreclosed on, received a notice, not because I don't pay my dues every month, have always done it for 20 years, not missed one payment. That's because it fell down on the car and I couldn't find it. Thought I'd mailed it. Okay. It's because, but we cannot defend that if your HOA, whoever's in charge, the board, is rigged, where you're not able to vote, where you're constantly being fined, and when the voting time comes, you can't vote because you have X number of fines, okay? And those fines add up. So that becomes a problem. And a lot of these individuals that are participating in this predatory kind of business, they are preying on elderly folks, okay? That already own these homes, but they want them, depending on where they're located, the location of the, good location. Get a piece of property and whoa, I can rent it out for whatever. And here in Atlanta, don't live here, but I own here, it has to, if you don't think about how this will impact your city all over, then you're in trouble. You can start, it could begin here and just spread all over the city. And you end up with a what? A cesspool. That's what you end up with. And we've gone to City Hall, we've gone to council, we've gone to people all over the city, and it's as if it's falling on deaf ears. Nobody wants to listen. But and even in where I'm on, you say that the assessments for water and well, we have to pay for water, but the waters don't have any meters on them. So how do you? And I'm not there except 3 months out of the year. So how do I know how much water I'm using versus somebody else? I'm getting charged the same thing, same amount of pay, of HOA fee. It is robbery, it's bribery, it is all of that. And the majority of the owners that are coming in, they're not here. They're not even in the United States. So are we going to allow our citizens to be taken advantage of? And we can't get any help. The only way we can get some help is through legislation. That's the only way we're going to get some help.
I would just say a lot of those are separate issues, and I completely support, you mentioned arbitrary fines. I think pretty much by and large, the vast majority of people, and even the rational property management and the law firms that represent HOAs, will have to concede that the fine issue is completely unfair and it's predatory. But I still go back to the fact of the condo situation. Once again, and I want to address the water situation because I'm dealing with that right now because I actually do have the answers to that. What is to prevent, my question back to you or anyone who has that position is, what is to prevent a local municipality from condemning a condo where someone is paying their dues and they still lose their home because the condominium cannot pay their water bill or the trash bill? Because those offenses of the trash building up and the water being unpaid would lead to condemnation. It's being done in Atlanta right now, and I can tell you, if a condo loses that particular right to foreclose, and I'm not saying foreclose for fines, specifically towards assessments. What I'm advocating for is specifically exempting condos from the foreclosure aspect as it relates to assessments that are tied to that water bill. And just quickly to wrap up, you mentioned the water situation. So if you're a condo, you have generally 3 water situations, generally 3. One, you have a master meter where everyone pays, they split it equally, or you have a sub-meter company, and this is where a lot of people get confused. You can sub-meter it out, but it's still one master bill, and if those people you have a sub-meter, and if a good portion of the condo aren't paying their share of the water, that leads to a shortfall, meaning the entire condominium falls behind on their water bill, and ultimately the water provider can shut it off. And if there's no water in that entire facility, that will lead to condemnation. And then the last and third thing, and I'm working on my condo pushing for this, is hooking up, having every condo, this is not possible in high rises, we're a low rise condo, having Atlanta Watershed connect piping to each individual unit. This way, if you pay your bill, you don't have to worry about your water getting shut off because you're paying you're paying your water bill, but every other tenant is not. And that leads to shut off for you even if you're paying your bill. So by
Mr.
going
Shep-
with the local municipality, everyone is responsible for their own
Excuse me,
water.
Cheryl.
So
Madam
yeah,
Chair, may I say something?
yeah,
If you have lived in and own
yeah.
your properties, and you've lived there for years, which is most of the folks at one time did, and they followed all of the rules, every one of them. They did everything they were supposed to do. It's a very nice home facility. Then suddenly somebody decided that, yeah, we can come in and we can scoop this property up and use it for something else. That is greed, to get money, to make money. We don't care what it looks like, and we can take the HOA fees that they are paying and redesign portions of it, the portion that we're gonna rent out as a Airbnb or something else, but the other part is gonna look like a dump. Then that's not right. But what we need to do is, Madam Chair, is probably move on because this is gonna be a long.
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no. All right.
But what I would like to say, we have a very good HOA bill that we're gonna move forward. Am I right,
Correct,
Madam
yes.
Chair?
Is that 406? Which one are we?
466 and 466.
And it's because right now the state of Georgia has nothing in place.
Correct.
Well, can you answer
Yeah,
that
that's
question
sort of-
then? With all due respect, could you
let-
answer that
let-
question?
let- Brad.
Can I get a minute, Michael?
Can I get a minute?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
of course, of
Y'all,
course.
let me have one.
This one.
Okay. Well, let me say the first thing is, thank you, Mr. Shepherd, but we only are gonna use no foreclosure as far as, it does not mean that you can't have those liens still. But on any liens that would take their property away from them without them having some way to arbitration somehow. So
I understand that.
so
Yeah.
we're not saying that the property they're the property owner. So we've looked at those. Senator Brass put both of these bills in, and his whole objective, he told me, was to prohibit all of the HOAs, POAs, and COAs to not be able to use any liens on foreclosure of their property, to have individual, I guess each case is individual.
Yeah.
And they would have that, so they could not foreclose on them. They would have to go before this, and we've done some. We're not going to have an ombudsman, but we have the Secretary of State has an office for nonprofits. So we worked it out to put HOA and COAs and all that under one department, so you don't have to keep going getting private lawyers and all.
And that's
you
good.
Can resolve
That's great,
it.
actually.
You can resolve it. So those are the. I think that the things that you talked about, we talked about over and over, but
no one. It doesn't sound like anyone thought about that. I'll just leave it.
we
with this.
thought about it, but we
no,
didn't.
No, the condo aspect.
we
How would
didn't
they pay their
address it.
water bill and their trash bill without being condemned? I feel that's a death sentence to condos, especially urban condos, if they cannot recover. No, not you all, but I'm saying a local municipality. If they can't execute to recover in a meaningful fashion, specifically condos, because I support it for single-family townhome, but for specifically condos, if you're saying, hey, you're making it challenging for them to collect, to pay their water bill and trash bill, then the water goes unpaid, the trash is not picked up. That will lead to condemnation at the municipal level and at the county level. That's what I am saying. Because no one can answer me about how will they pay their bill? How are you guaranteeing their water will not be shut off?
Instead of, pointing it out, do you have any suggestions on what we need to do?
I would recommend
well,
an
send it to
exemption
me.
specifically to the condo foreclosure, specifically with assessments. Now, she kept reverting back. Senator Freddie reverted to fines and fines being abused,
Yeah,
and
they
that's
have
true.
been.
That you should not be allowed to foreclose on a fine. I've seen the legislation regarding not being able to take away your right to vote on fines and assessments. Completely support that. But with condos, if they cannot recover the money in a meaningful fashion, the water, the trash is going to affect
Sure.
every single tenant in that community. And if that actually goes through, I can almost assure you that condos in Georgia, especially on the lower end, it's pretty much a death sentence to them.
Before
So that's
we
it.
go next,
Senator Merritt.
Senator Merritt, and then we'll hear what you
Okay, that's
want.
fine.
I had a quick question, circling back on election fraud. What does that look like with associations? Is it they're not posting properly, that they're having an election, and then they have a bunch of people show up and it just goes through? Like, what is that? What is that?
I mean, for me personally, if I were to think about that, I think maybe there needs to be, a lot of times they use the second party, as you want to say, or the HOA management company to manage that. A lot of times they do not disclose the actual voting results.
Okay.
The results are not turned over to the
No transparency in the
no
results.
transparency. So that's what I've seen
Okay.
personally, and I've heard a lot about that. And a lot of times when residents do try to reach out to these management companies or even to the board, if they're corrupt, they're not actually sharing that information. So that's the only part I have in regards to that.
So are we addressing that the management company shouldn't be a part?
no,
I don't know if we ever had that in a bill.
Yeah, that's-
Should they
that's
not even oversee elections, first
I mean,
of all?
that's a whole nother.
Okay.
We have to really think about that, right? But I think I just want to applaud you guys. I mean, it's been years, and we're working, and I feel like there has been some movement, and I see this bill, the 406. Yes, and I'm happy, and I'm hoping that we get some impact through this.
Actually, the
I
bill-
do agree with Sims. I do agree that there is, foreclosure has been used, unfortunately, in the wrong way, and I applaud you, Michael, regarding your water situation, and I hope that we can get a bill or some other kind of impactful movement in regard to that, specific for that, because I think that's something that should be addressed since you're bringing that to attention.
And I welcome
Yeah.
you bringing that, even though
Yeah.
it's the 11th hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring me something,
Yeah.
and then we'll
for
talk
sure.
about it. And we have a committee that came out of all these hearings that have been on a Zoom call every week once a week. So we'll present that to them because they haven't given me their final report. So we'll do that. But Senator Sims, you want to wrap it up with him because we were.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree with Sims. You know, I'm just going to read a little list here. I wrote a little list of 8 things to compel us to get foreclosures off. I think homeowner is a fundamental component of the economic stability and community development of family to secure, you know, for families to be secure in Georgia. Foreclosure is the most severe legal remedy available, traditionally reserved significantly for financial defaults under mortgage and tax obligations, and they should not be exercised by private non-governmental community associations, okay? Many Georgia homeowners enter HOA, POA, and condominiums without the full understanding of the scope of powers assumed by the associations, including the power of foreclosure for relatively small unpaid assessment or fines. And we've heard this. We've heard this all before. So I'm just kind of just repeating, you know, what I've heard and what I've experienced. I feel that, you know, the evidence of the association's initiated foreclosures have resulted in loss of homes over a disproportionately small debt. Unfair.
Oh, very unfair.
Unfair.
But this bill
Yes.
extends it from 2,000 to 4,000.
Which I don't think is enough, unfortunately.
I don't think is enough
I think
either,
I
but
think it
that's-
should be removed completely off the table. I feel that way.
That's Senator Brass's bill, and I can't
So what do
change
we
it, but I
can we
discussed
do
it
we know
with-
about the House bill? The House bill that's coming through? Are we supporting that?
We have so many House bills.
Yeah, I saw that one. They wanna-
HB 62, HB 190, HB 389. That's just some of them.
So I-
Wait a minute.
1036, 1035.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
512 and 664. But have you finished? You said 8.
Yeah, I mean, basically, for all these reasons, I find it very necessary to abolish the authority of any association to foreclose on property within the state of Georgia. Okay, that's my personal assessment after listening all this. You know, a homeowner, that's the American dream, and that's what we work for day in. We want sanctity when we go home. We want peace, and we've seen this, what it has led to in the state of Georgia. So I think we should be a
What's your
pioneer.
name
I think
for
we
the
should.
record?
Yeah, I think we should be a pioneer. We should be the first in the United States to have a bill that excludes and removes foreclosure off the table for homeowners. Homeowners are being attacked in many different ways, right? Our property taxes go up. You know, we know what's going on in the United States of America. We see. So this is just something that needs to be protected. And I applaud you guys for working and getting this bill. And I'm very happy. I was very happy when I saw what came out on the 12th. I was like, okay, we're rocking and rolling. We got some movement here. So I'm here to help in any way that I can to get this to pass, and so we have some impact for the state.
Well,
Do you know?
thank you.
You're welcome. Do you know if the Senate Bill 108 is that like is that one dead?
They have
Yeah.
not listened to it yet.
Okay,
but
okay.
It's still alive.
Because I do still recommend the date on there, if that date could be changed.
Yes,
Because
it's already
Yeah,
been.
because, I mean, I looked at it and I was like, medical people, you know, if it's 2025, you know, or people have been living in their house inside those contracts before 2025, before they have medical issues. So, but I just
We
wanted
have
to
one
applaud and.
other senator who wants to
Yeah.
ask a question.
Thank you for your information. As a matter of fact, I have a bill written, I haven't dropped it yet, that really moved from 2025, but, that's
Yeah,
what
I
I want
think-
to do, a separate,
Yeah,
separate
you-
bill, so I didn't have time to talk to the chairman because I was doing some other stuff. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that would
drop
be-
something, increase that number, 2,000 is just really.
I mean,
it's
it would be
crazy.
great because most
Yeah.
people living in their house got their house before 2025. And like you said, the elderly or people who have, anybody can experience medical, issues. And we know we're all one paycheck away from being homeless. Let's just be real. That's the statistics. So we need to support our fellow Americans, support our citizens. And I applaud you for pushing this bill and working on it.
Thank
And I'm
you.
here to support. And my name is Christina Potts.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Ms. Buck.
You're
And
welcome.
before we're gonna hear from Senator Kemp, you wanted to,
Yeah, I do have a bill that I sponsored focused on HOAs, and this is most important portion of this is to require training. That if you're going to serve on an HOA, you have to go through a training in order to serve, because so many folks get on these boards and don't know what they're doing and don't know the limitations to what they can do, or to the conversation today, the impact that their decisions have on people attaining and retaining their American dream, and that's owning their own homes. And so that is Senate Bill 393,
yes.
the HOA Accountability
have
and
that
Training
on.
Act. So we are going to try to get that a hearing. Actually going to be requested that is moved from public safety, because there was a portion in there that addressed HOAs fining folks for things that the local law enforcement agencies can do, and so that was given to public safety. But now I'm not going to focus on that portion. I just want to focus on the training portion. So I'm going to try to get that bill moved. So but that is Senate Bill 393.
And the thing is, the person who is the chairperson is on this committee, but he never has come. Did they take him off? No, his name is still on here. He hadn't been he came one day for like 5 minutes. So he's been too busy for us, I guess. So we're gonna have your quick comment and then we'll wrap it up, because we have to be out of here. He was just reminding me. Okay. Everybody has another meeting, but we only had this room for
1 hour.
Another 10 minutes.
another 10 minutes.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
I won't take 10 minutes. Senator Kemp, I'd like to thank you for your education bill. I have 3 board members. Well, we currently only have 1 true board member, because I'm going to get to your election fraud in just a moment, who they all need to be educated, because I can show them what the law says and they'll tell me that's not what the law says. I can show them what it looks like in the Declaration and what we're supposed to do, and they'll tell me, well, we don't have to do that, because they think no one will fight them. So I have filed a lawsuit on behalf of my community. I filed it in May. We got a TRO because our board turned our water off. And the law states that you cannot turn the water off until you get a judgment of $750. But at Waldrop Park in Decatur, our board members turned our water off. And some people didn't have water for 3 weeks until we filed the lawsuit. We got a TRO and they turned the water back on, as they said they would do, bold-facedly, in a meeting we had in September, where our board president told us, well, if you complain, then we'll just turn your water back on. But you know it's against the law, so why would you do it? They need education, because they're going to get themselves in trouble, because I'm going to file another lawsuit. Election fraud.
Your name for the record.
I'm sorry?
We need your name for
Oh, Caroline Simmons.
Okay.
I have served every position on my board, and I've managed my board twice. I have a real estate license. I no longer break the law. I've grown up. So I try to stick, and I tell people in my community. I sent a long email to my community last night. We have a meeting on Saturday, which should be our annual meeting, but we received notice. Our declaration says 21 days in advance. This year we received it 20 days in advance. Last year we received it 16 days in advance. This year's notice is dated January 10th, 2026, for a meeting that is going to be held on January 31st, 2025. So that meeting is not valid. We have 1 board member, because he has, again, thrown someone off of the board. He manufactured a delinquency to remove me from the board. He manufactured that I did not attend board meetings. He did the same thing to another young lady. He has a pattern. None of us know how many units are eligible to vote. The notice that we received clearly stated everyone's going to get a ballot, and then we'll figure out at the end who's eligible to vote. We did receive a notice today that 31 units is what is needed for quorum, but not how many units are eligible to vote. Good thing is I can do math. It is 93 units that are eligible. But he will change it, as he has done before. We had a vote on an amendment to remove the residency requirement from our declaration. The vote started on November 20th. It ended on February the 28th, and then the board president sent out a notice to a small group of owners that is on a group meet with him to clearly tell them, I'm holding off on announcing the vote because I'm allowing people to bring their accounts current so that they can vote, because he didn't get the votes he wanted and he made promises. So now my community is in disarray. That's our election fraud. We don't know what's going to happen on Saturday, but I do know that I'm going to have to file a lawsuit in order to figure all of this out. And I'm going to have to do it pro se because there are very few attorneys that are willing to take our case. We did have one attorney, but because things didn't progress, my neighbor stopped paying. So I am now on the hook for a bill of over $6,000 because my name is on that contract. So I've got to pay that. And I plan to pay it, but I'm going to file this other lawsuit first. And if I can get these board members to pay us back all of this money, because they installed water meters for us that we didn't need to the tune of $367,080. We didn't need them. But we have a water bill. Senator Powell Sims, I'm going around the table. We have a water bill. Almost. We have a water bill of $668,000 that started, it goes to DeKalb County. It started in 2017. I understand your point about people shouldn't lose their homes, but I shouldn't lose mine either. The problem is that if my neighbors don't pay their water bills, and the condominium association cannot foreclose on those units, we have no way of recouping that money. In my case, my unit is held in a trust. The trust has no bank account. The only asset that the trust has that can get that money is the unit itself. So if we aren't able to foreclose, and we have multiple LLCs in our community that don't have bank accounts, that do not have money, where does the association get that money from, as Michael stated, to not be condemned? I'm not right now because I'm fighting with them, but in the past, I've always paid my dues, just as you have. If my neighbors choose not to pay their water bills, we can't pay the water. I mean, not that, well, we do. We have separate meters also. But if they choose not to pay their assessments and they choose not to pay their water bill, how do we pay our bills? How do we pay insurance? If we're not in a position to be able to pay the insurance and a building burns down and God forbid someone dies in that building and we don't have insurance, all 228 units become responsible for that. The only way for a condo to recoup that money is to be able to foreclose on that unit if we are not able to garnish people's bank accounts or their paychecks. In my case, my unit is in a trust. My trust has no bank account. I pay all of the bills, but the way Georgia law is written, I believe, the trust is a separate entity to itself, and you cannot come and get my money in order to pay off the trust debt. So now we have a problem.
Other thing,
you
the
wrap it up at
individuals
this point,
that prey on the laws that are not there, they know that.
Right.
They absolutely know that.
Yep.
It wasn't because the association, the dues were not being paid. It's because there was somebody that came along and decided, we want this property.
But that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing what ends up
ties
happening.
in a lot with it.
And I completely understand
Those
that, and I'm all for
individuals
that.
took the assessment.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely stole. It's like a cartel. They stole from us. They took from us, and now you want to take the property. They have over-assessed those individuals that live there. We have gotten lawyers. Doesn't work because those individuals will tell you, what are you going to do to me? There is nothing written in the law to protect us. And they know that. So they just kind of do what they want to do.
The problem is, if my neighbors do not pay and I pay,
I hear what
and
you're
we
saying.
can't pay our water
I hear
bill.
what you're saying.
But you're not answering the question. That's my question is, how does the HOA, in a condominium association, how do they recoup those funds?
So you're saying you don't want condominiums. You want them excused from this
I want
XOA.
I want them slightly exempt. The reason being, I don't want people to lose their homes because of fines. But if you don't pay your assessment and I lose my home, what's the point of this law?
I hear you, but what you're saying is not the situation in every association.
And it's not. I'm only addressing it to condominiums because for the most
No.
part,
In every condominium association, it's not like that either. Because we don't even have water meters, but we were being
Right.
charged.
But if you're
But
if
we
in
were
your
being charged for water.
in your community, if your owners do not pay and your community cannot pay your water bill and the county turns your water off, you
That's a
will
whole
become
different situation.
but that's the situation I'm
But
addressing.
what you're saying, we're going to excuse condominiums, period.
I'm saying find a way for condominiums to survive. Right now, the way you're addressing it, it's as though, well, if they don't survive, they don't survive. That's the way it comes across. I know you don't mean it that way, but that's the way it comes across. If the condominiums don't survive, they don't survive. But I need some place to live. And I bought a condominium. I shouldn't suffer because there is a bill that does not allow my community to thrive.
But
And
we
that's the
should not
situation that
suffer
I'm in.
Because there are individuals living in other places and spaces very comfortable, taking our monies and just we don't even get bank accounts.
But those are the management companies.
That's not,
Is it the board members?
Those are the board members,
Yeah.
along with the board lawyers.
Yeah,
I mean, I know. I
And
think,
now we
yeah.
have to end now.
I think there.
But-
I personally, I do think there needs to be another legislation, right? This condominium could be addressed separately. The water, the condominium, the electricity for the condominiums.
Okay,
I
agree.
appreciate it. I
Go
think
ahead.
it's separate legislation.
This is a complex issue.
Yeah.
So my approach is we need to address this in a
Separate.
small. You can't really do big bills. Sometimes you might have to take individual
I like
issues
my little condo.
because it's so different. So that
The good
And I
thing
don't
is,
wanna
if
lose
this
it.
passes, you won't lose it. They'll never foreclose on you, even if you have a trust. But you set up a trust so you don't lose it, right?
But I'll lose it from condemnation.
Well, let's hope not. I mean, that's the city that because
I'm
we're going to
so
work on a
sorry,
bill to
we
fix
might
that.
have to adjourn because we don't have this room anymore. What are you talking about, Elaine? Okay, thank you.
No, we gotta
We will, we have to come back, next week. We have to adjourn, we have to start again next week to listen to the legislation that was put, well, it wasn't put on hold, but that we have to address next week. And I think we have another bill too. But think about all these things. You know, we did talk about some of them, but nobody gave me this in black and white. You come today, somebody called me right before this meeting and said, I don't like any of your bills. I said, well, what do you suggest? Oh, fix it. Well, what do you suggest? So I have tried to give all the time and energy to this issue so that I can say I don't even live in a HOA. I have a house and it's paid for. And I don't, thank God, don't live in a HOA. So it's not personal, but then all my neighbors and constituents that do have this problem are the ones that I'm trying to work with. We have to leave only because during the session, they give you time limits. And our time limit has expired. Can you give me what you talking about in writing? I don't think I had yours in writing.
Say the meeting's adjourned.
Okay, wait. I need I guess we don't need a motion to adjourn. This meeting is adjourned at whatever time it is, 3:02. Thank you.